My name is Jenna Quinn and I used to have the perfect marriage. Until I made one stupid mistake. 10 years. That's how long Nathan and I had been together. 7 years married, 3 years dating before that. We were the kind of couple people envied. High school sweethearts living in a cozy house in Maryland, both with steady jobs, no kids yet but trying. He was reliable, thoughtful. He made my coffee every morning, folded my laundry when I forgot, never raised his voice. He remembered our anniversary without fail. And I loved him so much it terrified me sometimes. Which is probably why I did what I did. It started on a Monday morning in the break room at work. I was sipping burnt coffee, half listening to a coworker drone on about her wedding plans when Tasha walked in. She worked in HR, tall, pretty, charismatic in that way that made men stammer and women either admire or avoid her. She was engaged to a Canadian banker and always talking about her upcoming move to Toronto. I don't know why I blurted it out. Maybe it was the sleep deprivation. Maybe I was just feeling insecure after seeing Nathan scrolling through Instagram a little too long the night before. Or maybe I just wanted reassurance. Do you think your man would cheat? I asked Tasha suddenly. She tilted her head. What kind of question is that? I shrugged. Like, if someone met him out of the blue. Pretty stranger. Would he flirt back? Tasha laughed. If he loves you. No. Even if it was innocent? I pushed. Just a test. Her smile faltered. That's not a test. That's a trap. But then after a pause she added, you think Nathan would take the bait? I didn't. Not really. Nathan was loyal. Steady. Boring even. But doubt is a slippery thing. It worms its way into your brain, wraps around your heart like ivy, choking everything rational. If you are surprised by what you just heard, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. Your thoughts matter. And if you want to stay in the loop for what's coming next, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. As I am going to tell you what happened next, you won't want to miss a moment of this. I should have let the conversation die right there. But I didn't. Later that week I pulled Tasha aside. Hey, would you do something crazy for me? She blinked. Like what? DM Nathan. Flirt a little. See how he reacts. She stared at me, lips parted like she thought I was joking. When I didn't laugh, her eyebrows lifted. Jenna. Please. You're leaving the country in 3 weeks. You're engaged. There's zero threat. I just need to know. Tasha hesitated. Then she said the worst thing she could have. Okay. I gave her Nathan's Instagram. I even helped her craft the first message. Something casual. Hey, I saw your profile through a friend and just had to say, damn. Harmless. Yes. For the first 2 days Nathan didn't reply. I felt vindicated. Proud even. I told Tasha not to push it, but she did anyway, sending 2 more messages, one a compliment about his rugged smile, the other a playful emoji. Still nothing. I began to feel guilty. Nathan was passing with flying colors and here I was playing puppet master behind his back. On day 5 she walked past my desk, dropped her phone in front of me and smirked. He replied. My stomach dropped. I snatched her phone. There was. Nathan, appreciate the compliment. You're very pretty too. Smiling face with smiling eyes. I stared at the smiley face like it was a dagger. A stupid yellow circle with a soft curve and 2 eyes. It's just being polite, I said quickly. Tasha shrugged. Sure. But he didn't have to reply at all. That night I asked Nathan about his day. He kissed me on the forehead, smiled like usual and said, nothing special. Same old meetings. You. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask him who he thought he was fooling. That I said, same. Just boring HR stuff. I didn't tell him that the HR stuff was Tasha. And that Tasha was now officially part of a game I'd created. A game I was beginning to lose. Over the next week things shifted. Tasha stopped showing me the messages. Said it was nothing important. Said he wasn't being inappropriate, just friendly. But her eyes had changed. There was something in her tone. Something smug. Nathan too began acting strange. Distant. He started staying up late on his laptop. His phone was always face down. One night I caught him smiling at something, then quickly shutting the screen when I entered the room. What's funny? I asked. Just a meme, he said. He didn't show me. One afternoon, Tasha announced she was no longer moving to Canada. She was going to Ghana instead. Something about a remote HR opportunity she couldn't pass up. I remember laughing awkwardly. Ghana? That's random. She gave me a strange smile. Life's full of surprises. A week after she left, I caught Nathan texting at 3 a.m. When I asked who it was, he said, a friend from college. But I knew. I just didn't want to believe. I waited until he showered the next morning. Then I unlocked his phone using the fingerprint he didn't know I'd saved to my own device. Scrolled through his WhatsApp. My heart hammered so hard I could barely hear the silence. Her name was saved as T. Cherry Blossom. I clicked it. My breath caught. Tasha, I miss your mouth. Nathan, I miss everything about you. Tasha, did she suspect last night? Nathan, not a clue. She thinks I'm working late. I couldn't feel my hands. My whole body went cold. There were photos, selfies, screenshots of flights, hotel bookings. One of them kissing, taken in a mirror. Another of Nathan shirtless on a hotel bed I didn't recognize. The timestamp was last month. Last month. While I was home waiting for him to return from a conference. There was even a message from her that said, "Remember, you only talked to me because Jenna told me to. Funny how fate works." And his reply, best mistake she ever made. I closed the app. Sat in silence. The room didn't feel real. My life didn't feel real. My stomach turned and I barely made it to the sink before throwing up. He knew. He knew I set it up. And he never told me. Instead, he took the bait and ran with it. That night, I watched him sleep next to me. His face peaceful, his chest rising and falling like nothing had happened. Like he hadn't ripped the foundation out from under my feet. I didn't confront him. Not yet. I needed to know everything first. I needed proof, more than messages. I wanted him to confess. I wanted to watch the truth shatter in his eyes. So I kept quiet. And began plotting. Because if they thought I was just the fool who set it all in motion, they were about to learn I was something else entirely. And then, 3 days later, I found something that made my blood freeze. A pink pregnancy test, hidden in the guest bathroom trash. Still faintly positive. And I hadn't taken it. The test wasn't mine. And the only other woman who'd been in that bathroom was Tasha. But she was in Ghana. Or at least that's what I thought, until I checked her Instagram and saw the airport tag. Welcome to Baltimore. You ever feel your heart stop, not in a poetic way but physically? That's what happened when I saw the Instagram post. It was just a selfie. Tasha with her signature pout, oversized sunglasses, a caramel macchiato in hand. The caption was simple. Back in town for a few days. Missed my people kiss mark #Baltimore love. I stared at it for so long the screen dimmed. My breath came in shallow bursts like my body was forgetting how to function. Tasha was back. And she hadn't told me. But more importantly, why the hell was she here? And was she the one who took that pregnancy test? I needed answers. But I needed them smart. If I came at Nathan now, accusing, screaming, throwing the test in his face, he'd deny, deflect, twist it all until I looked crazy. I'd already handed him one weapon by staging the test in the first place. I wasn't about to give him another. So I played it cool. I made pancakes that morning. Kissed him softly. Even wore the robe he liked. The silky red one with the plunging neckline. You're in a good mood, he said, eyeing me suspiciously. I smiled. Just feeling grateful. He grunted and sat down to eat. I watched him closely. Noticed the way he checked his phone every few minutes, face blank, chewing slower than usual. I wanted to hurl the syrup bottle at his head. Instead, I poured him coffee and said, we should take a trip soon. Just the two of us. He smiled, tight, polite fake. Yeah, maybe. That maybe confirmed it all. Later that day, I made a burner Instagram and followed Tasha's account. To my surprise, it was still public. She posted another story at 1:04 p.m. A close-up of a hotel bed, her legs stretched out, pedicure freshly done, the edge of a male hand in the background. His hand. I recognized Nathan's knuckles. The slight scar from where he cut himself fixing our sink 2 years ago. You don't forget the details of someone you've shared a bed with for a decade. He was with her. That day. While I was making him pancakes. Called my best friend Erica. We hadn't spoken in a while. My fault. I'd been too busy trying to maintain the illusion of a perfect life. Whoa, she said after I told her everything. You're telling me you set him up and he still chose her? Yeah. And now she's back. And possibly pregnant. Yeah. Girl. I hate to say this, but you might have just served him your marriage on a silver platter. Thanks, Erica. Super helpful. No, listen. I'm not blaming you. I'm saying he was always gonna cheat. You just exposed it. I hung up with more questions than comfort. Later that night, Nathan said he had a late work dinner. I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. The moment he left, I got dressed. Jeans, hoodie, flat shoes. Silent, forgettable. I called a rideshare, gave them the name of the hotel Tasha had tagged earlier, and sat in the back seat like a shadow. The hotel was sleek, business class, nothing flashy. I slipped into the lobby unnoticed, heart pounding like a war drum. I told the receptionist I was visiting a friend in room 402. Smiled, lied, acted like I belonged. When I got to the 4th floor, I paused outside room 402. My hand hovered near the door, shaking. What was I doing? If I knocked, would she answer? Would they both be there? Before I could decide, the door opened. And there he was. Nathan. Holding a towel. Hair damp. Freshly showered. He froze when he saw me. Jenna, he croaked. I stared at him. Not as his wife. Not even as a betrayed woman. But as a stranger seeing him for the first time. Exposed, guilty, small. Behind him I heard a voice. Babe? Who was it? Of course. He stepped into the hallway and closed the door behind him, panic creeping across his face. What the hell are you doing here? He hissed. What am I doing here? I whispered, voice trembling. You said you had a work dinner. He opened his mouth, then shut it. For once, the smooth liar had no script. I pulled the pregnancy test from my bag. Recognize this? His face drained of color. Then came the lie. It's not hers. So it's mine. I snapped. Even though we haven't had sex in weeks? Silence. You knew, I said, tears rising. You knew Tasha was part of the test. And you still. I didn't plan it. Oh, shut up. I swear it just happened. I laughed. A sharp, bitter sound. She was supposed to be a test, Nathan. You weren't supposed to fail. He looked away. I didn't know how to tell you. After we started talking, it felt like fate. Fate. I choked. You think cheating on your wife with a coworker I sent was fate? He rubbed his temples. I didn't mean for it to go this far. But it did. I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're just sorry you got caught. Then I said it. The words that cracked whatever was left between us. I hope she's pregnant. I hope she has your child. Because you two deserve each other. I turned to leave. Jenna, wait. I stopped. He looked torn, confused, still half-dressed. And then he said something that made me freeze. She told me you dared her to do it. That you wanted to see if I'd cheat. She said she warned you it would backfire. I spun on him. And you believed her? He didn't answer. That silence was louder than a scream. As I walked away from room 402, my phone buzzed with a new message from an unknown number. It read, You started this game, Jenna. Don't cry now that you're losing. They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. But what they forget to mention is the silence that follows. That eerie, numbing quiet right before the storm breaks. The kind of silence I sat in alone in my car outside that hotel after Nathan slammed the door in my face. I didn't cry. Not yet. I was beyond that. Instead, I stared at the message on my phone. You started this game, Jenna. Don't cry now that you're losing. No name. No profile picture. Just a burner number. But I didn't need a forensics expert to tell me it was Tasha. He was taunting me. The same woman I once shared office lunches with. The one who sent me memes during long meetings and told me she couldn't wait to start her new life in Canada with her fiancé. That woman was now sleeping with my husband. Possibly carrying his child. And calling me the loser. But here's the thing about people like Tasha. They always leave a trail. And I was done being the clueless wife. I went home and started digging. First, her Instagram. I took screenshots of every post, story, and caption going back 2 years. There was a pattern. Tasha loved showing off just enough to brag but not enough to get caught. Hotel tags with no locations. Airport selfies with cryptic captions. One stood out. Weekends that feel like dreams. You make me forget everything. Thought balloon kiss mark. The post was from 5 weeks ago. Same weekend Nathan had flown to Chicago for a work summit. I checked his email receipts. There were none. His airline points history? A direct round trip to Accra, Ghana. He didn't even bother to cover his tracks. Second, her fiancé. Remember him? The banker from Toronto? His name was Caleb Vaughn. I remembered it because she once showed me his picture and said, "Look at that jawline, like it was carved by God." A quick LinkedIn search gave me his company. I found his email. I shouldn't have reached out. But rage is a funny thing. It makes you forget what's wise and sharpens what's petty. So I wrote. Subject: you deserve to know. Hi Caleb. I work with Tasha. We used to be friends. I believe she's been seeing my husband Nathan behind both of our backs. She may have even been pregnant. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this. Jenna Quinn. He didn't respond. Not that day. But 3 hours later, Tasha deleted her Instagram account. Third, I checked Nathan's cloud. Years ago when we got new phones, I helped him set up the automatic backup. Photos, texts, locations, it was all synced. And like clockwork, I still had admin access. I sat on the couch, opened the backup and scrolled through his hidden photo folder. The first image was a mirror selfie. Nathan and Tasha in bed. She was licking his cheek. He looked alive. Vibrant in a way I hadn't seen in years. Photo after photo. Video after video. In one, they were walking through a market in Ghana, holding hands like newlyweds. In another, she was on top of him whispering something to the camera. I didn't listen. I couldn't. I closed the laptop. Then I did cry. Not the dramatic sobs people picture in movies. No. This was quiet, suffocating. I held my breath so long I thought I'd pass out. The man I built my life around was in love with another woman. And I had handed her to him. The next day I returned to the office. The HR department was eerily quiet. Tasha's desk was still there, but empty, her nameplate gone. I found her resignation email buried in the HR system. Submitted 2 days before she left for Ghana. No forwarding address. No thank you note. She vanished like a ghost. That same afternoon I got an email from Caleb. Subject: thank you, Jenna. I had my suspicions but nothing concrete. Your message confirmed everything. I appreciate your honesty. I replied simply. I'm sorry for your pain. I understand it all too well. That night Nathan came home late. He reeked of cologne I didn't wear. I didn't ask where he'd been. Dad, I made dinner. His favorite, lemon garlic salmon and roasted potatoes. He ate in silence, barely making eye contact. When he finished, he cleared his throat. We need to talk. I didn't blink. About what? He fidgeted. Yes. About what's happening. I placed my fork down slowly. You mean you cheating? His jaw tightened. I never meant for it to happen like this. You keep saying that. But here we are. He looked away. I think I need space. Space. I laughed. From me. Or to be with her. He flinched. Jenna. No. Say it. You want to be with Tasha? A long pause. Yes. Felt like someone stabbed me through the ribs. Not because I didn't already know. But because hearing it, confirmed in his voice, gave it finality. So go, I said, voice hollow. Be with her. He didn't expect that. Wait, what? You want her? Take your clothes and get the hell out. I thought. What? That I'd beg? Cry? Forgive you. I stood trembling but firm. Get out. He left that night. But not before he turned at the door and said, You brought her into our lives. You don't get to play the victim. Then he was gone. The next morning I got a package with no return address. Inside was a small jewelry box. I opened it with trembling fingers, and inside was the engagement ring Tasha used to wear. Along with a note. He's not who you think he is. You're not the only wife. The box sat on my kitchen counter like a live grenade. Small. Innocent looking. Deadly. The ring inside was unmistakable, platinum band, oval-cut diamond flanked by 2 sapphires. Tasha wore it religiously. She used to flash it at the office whenever someone asked about her wedding plans. Now it was here, in my home, with a note that said, He's not who you think he is. You're not the only wife. I read that line at least 20 times. Not the only wife. The words rattled around my skull like a loose screw. I tried to rationalize. Maybe Tasha was being dramatic. Maybe it was metaphorical. Maybe she meant emotionally, not legally. Maybe she was trying to mess with me one last time before vanishing again. But the thing is, you can only ignore a fire alarm for so long before the smoke reaches your lungs. And something was burning. I called Erica again. Let me get this straight, she said, barely concealing the panic in her voice. You found out he's been cheating with the coworker you used as a test. She might be pregnant. She sends you her engagement ring in a box. And now she's telling you there's another wife. Yes. Girl, you're not in a marriage, you're in a Netflix series. I didn't laugh. Neither did she after a moment. Erica offered to come over. I told her no. I needed space. But what I really needed was the truth. I spent the rest of the afternoon digging. I had access to Nathan's emails. Thank God for autofill passwords and cloud sync. At first it was the usual work stuff. Logistics. IT support. Travel confirmations. Then I found an email from a name I didn't recognize. Subject. Rental agreement, Kumasi flat renewal. From Evelyn Key. To Nathan Graves. Hi Nathan. Just confirming we've renewed the 6-month lease. Let me know if you'd like me to send the new set of keys to your P.O. box or keep them at the flat. Hope the wife and little one are doing well. Cheers, Evelyn. My blood ran cold. Kumasi? The flat? The little one. I looked at the date. The lease had been renewed just 2 months ago. I copied Evelyn's name and searched everywhere. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Nothing concrete. But then I found her real estate profile. A local agent in Kumasi, Ghana. There was a listing history. Nathan had rented a 2-bedroom apartment under the alias Daniel Green. And he used a Ghanaian mailing address. So not only was he sleeping with Tasha, he had a home overseas. Possibly a child. That night I texted him. Jenna, you have something to tell me? Nathan, about what? Jenna, Kumasi. Evelyn Key. The little one. He didn't respond for an hour. Then he called. I let it ring until it went to voicemail. He texted again. Nathan, can I come over? Jenna, no. You lost that right the moment you lied about everything. Nathan, I swear it's not what it looks like. Jenna, then tell me what it is. Because you have a lease under a fake name in a foreign country and a real estate agent who thinks you have a family. No reply. Nothing. Just silence. I couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m. I started pacing. In my robe. Barefoot. Numb. I walked into the guest room where the jewelry box sat. I opened it again. Stared at the ring. Why would Tasha send it back? Unless she wasn't just done with Nathan. She was done protecting him. Or maybe she wanted revenge. That thought sat with me. I went to my laptop and created a burner Gmail. I used it to message Evelyn Key directly. Hi Evelyn. I believe you've been in contact with someone I know under the name Daniel Green. I have reason to believe his real name is Nathan Graves. If you know anything about him or his wife and child, I would really appreciate the truth. Please. I think I've been lied to for a long time. Jenna Quinn. I expected silence. But 10 minutes later she responded. Hi Jenna. I'm sorry to tell you this. Yes, Daniel Green is Nathan Graves. He lives part-time in Kumasi. He has a partner here named Mavis. They've been together for at least 4 years. And yes, they have a daughter. She's 2 years old. I stared at the screen, mouth dry. 4 years. Second life. A second woman. A child. And I never knew. Tasha wasn't the first affair. She was just the one who got caught. Nathan didn't stumble into infidelity. He built an empire of betrayal. I picked up my phone and finally called him. He answered immediately. Jenna. You have a child? I whispered. Silence. A second life? He sighed. I was going to tell you. When? On our 20th anniversary. He tried to explain. Said it started when he went on a business trip to Ghana 5 years ago. Met Mavis by chance. Fell into something he didn't expect. Claimed he never meant to stay, never meant to have a child, but then it all got too deep. I love you, he said. You don't get to say that. I was going to fix it. Fix what? Your double life. I never wanted to hurt you. Then why did you sleep with Tasha? I snapped. You had one wife too many, and you still wanted more. He didn't respond. I'm filing for divorce, I said. And you'd better lawyer up. Because I'm taking everything. Then I hung up. And screamed into my pillow until my throat went raw. 3 days later, I received another anonymous envelope. Inside was a photograph of a woman holding a child. On the back, written in blue ink. You only knew about one. He has three. There's a difference between heartbreak and humiliation. Heartbreak is private, quiet, something you carry in the pit of your stomach and cry over in the dark. But humiliation? That's public. That's when the world knows your husband isn't just a cheater, but a fraud. A man who's built a life so layered in lies, you can't even figure out where you fit anymore. I used to think I was his partner. Turns out I was just one chapter in his trilogy. And maybe not even the main character. The envelope with the photo came wrapped in a brown paper bag. No return address, just like before. But this time the handwriting was different. More deliberate. Planted. The picture showed a woman in her late 30s, caramel skin, tight curls tied back, holding a little boy with a gap-toothed smile and Nathan's exact eyes. On the back. You only knew about one. He has three. Three women. 3 lives. 3 sets of lies. My hands shook as I stared at the photo. I flipped it over again and again, hoping maybe I'd imagined it. That maybe this was someone else's nightmare. But it was mine. I texted Erica. He has 3 families. She FaceTimed me within 30 seconds. Are you serious? You have to go to the police. I laughed bitterly. For what? Being emotionally butchered? That's not illegal. Maybe not, but this is dangerous, Jenna. If he's hiding children, property, and fake identities across countries, that's not just adultery. That's fraud. She wasn't wrong. That night I went on a full-blown investigation. First stop, Nathan's frequent flyer history. I had access through his Delta account. We used to share miles. He'd been to Ghana 14 times in the last 3 years. But he'd also made trips to Barbados, Kenya, South Africa. One trip stood out. Barbados, July 4th weekend. The same weekend he told me he was going to a men's retreat in Virginia. I remembered because I stayed home crying after a false pregnancy test. He never even checked into the retreat hotel. I searched public records in Barbados. Took hours, some digging and a few questionable hacks. But eventually, I found it. Birth record, Isaiah Thomas Green. Father, Daniel Green. Mother, Felicia M. Payne. Date of birth, March 14, 2020. Another woman. Another child. Felicia Payne had a public Facebook profile. She was gorgeous, radiant, and very much unaware of the chaos she was part of. Her page was filled with photos of her little boy, Isaiah, at school, at the beach, blowing out birthday candles. She often tagged someone named DG in the comments. Daniel Green. The same alias Nathan used for his Ghanaian lease. It hit me then, he didn't just cheat. He created entire personas. And here I was calling myself his wife. The only wife. What a joke. I grabbed a notepad and made a list. Jenna, me, married 10 years. No kids. Maryland. Mavis, Kumasi, Ghana. 1 daughter. Lease confirmed. Felicia, Barbados. 1 son. Birth record confirmed. Tasha, unknown pregnancy status. Ex-fiancé to another man. May have been a pawn, or a willing participant. But it wasn't enough to just list them. I needed to talk to one of them. So I reached out to Felicia. Carefully. Respectfully. I created a new identity and messaged her through a dummy account, pretending to be a distant acquaintance. I told her I had information about the man she knew as Daniel Green. At first she ignored me. Then I sent the photo of Nathan and Tasha in bed, the one from his phone backup. No caption. Just the image. She replied within minutes. Who are you? Where did you get that? What do you want? I told her the truth. I'm his legal wife, Jenna Quinn. I live in Maryland. He goes by Nathan Graves here. I thought you deserved to know. I just found out about you. And Mavis. And your son. There was silence for nearly an hour. Then she called. Her voice trembled. I've known him since 2018. He said he was divorced. That his ex was toxic and bitter. That he was raising a daughter in Ghana and traveling for work. He told me he worked in international logistics, I muttered. Me too. We both laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the alternative was screaming. I loved him, she said finally. I trusted him. So did I. We sat in silence on the call for a long time. Then Felicia said something that stayed with me. We're not victims. Not just. We're witnesses. To a man who builds his lies like castles, and lives in every single one. That same week I heard from Tasha. A plain text email. No greeting. No closing. He lied to me too. I thought it was just you and me. I didn't know about the others. I'm not pregnant. I sent you the ring because I wanted you to know he's been using the same story with all of us. There's another woman in Seattle. I met her once by accident. She called him Nathaniel. Be careful. Tasha. Seattle. That made 4. I stared at the screen, my reflection staring back at me in the black space between the words. Thought it was over. I thought I knew everything. But then a private investigator I hired texted me late one night with 6 chilling words. Jenna, there's a marriage license in Texas. Second marriage license. Not an affair. Not another baby mama. Not just lies whispered into the ears of lonely women across borders. No. This time it was legal. Signed, sealed, and filed with the state of Texas. The private investigator's text read. Found a marriage certificate filed in Harris County under the name Nathaniel D. Graves. Married to one, Angela Rosalind Carter. Date, October 12, 2017. 2017. That was 3 years into my own marriage. While I was planning anniversary dinners and fertility treatments, my husband was walking down another aisle. Wearing the same damn name. I flew to Texas 2 days later. I didn't tell anyone, not Erica, not my mother, not even the investigator. I needed to do this on my own. I needed to see her. This Angela. This other Mrs. Graves. I looked her up online. She ran a wellness spa in Houston. The website boasted yoga sessions, Reiki healing, and organic facials. Her photo was front and center, gorgeous, mid-30s, glowing with the kind of confidence I used to have before my heart got pulverized. I called the spa to book an appointment. Used a fake name, Monica Peters. Booked a deep healing facial. What I really needed was deep truth. The spa was small but elegant. Clean white walls. Lavender oil diffusers. That eerie serenity you only find in places built for women who need to forget their pain for 50 minutes. Angela met me at the door. Monica, she smiled. Right this way. Her voice was calm. Warm. Completely unaware that the woman following her was there to obliterate the life she thought she knew. She led me to a private room. Dim lighting. Soft music. I laid down on the treatment bed, nerves crackling under my skin. How's your day been? She asked, dabbing a warm cloth over my forehead. Interesting, I said. I've learned a lot about myself lately. She laughed lightly. That's good. Self-discovery is sacred. Oh, it's been sacred all right. Pause. I opened my eyes, locked onto hers. Angela Carter Graves. She froze, cloth still in hand. Sorry. You're married to Nathaniel Graves. She stepped back slowly. Who are you? I sat up. I'm Jenna Quinn. His other wife. Her hand trembled as it lowered the towel. Jesus Christ. Yeah. That about sums it up. She staggered back into the corner. Her face turned ghost white. This can't be happening. He said you were his ex. That you'd moved on. That he was fighting for custody of your dog. He doesn't even like dogs. Angela sank into the chair by the wall. Oh my God. I've been married to him since 2013. You married him in 2017. I didn't know. Her voice cracked. I didn't know. He said I was the only one. He says that to all of us. Tears welled in her eyes. I just had a miscarriage last month. We were trying for a baby. He said he was finally ready. My heart broke for her. She wasn't my enemy. She was my reflection. We sat in that spa room for nearly 2 hours, comparing timelines, receipts, hotel bookings. He told her he traveled for work, logistics management in Africa and the Caribbean. He told me the same. He told her I was vindictive, unstable, jealous. Showed her edited screenshots of fake messages. Told her I used to stalk him. He made her pity him. Does he have kids? She asked me at one point. Yes, I said. At least 2. Maybe more. Angela pressed a hand to her mouth. He took my last $6,000 to invest in a property in Ghana, she whispered. And then he disappeared for 3 weeks. Said it was customs paperwork. I bet he was with Mavis. Or Felicia. She blinked. Who? And so I told her. About Mavis in Kumasi with the toddler daughter. About Felicia in Barbados and the son born in 2020. About Tasha, the test that backfired. About the ring in the box. About the photo with the warning on the back. You only knew about one. He has 3. By the time I was done, Angela looked like a shattered window. Beautiful but cracked in ways that couldn't be unseen. I gave her the burner number I used to talk to Felicia and Tasha. We're all going to talk, I said. We have to. She nodded. We need to bring him down. I don't want revenge, I lied. I want the truth. I want to burn the lies down to the studs. Angela wiped her face, stood and hugged me. Thank you, she whispered. I squeezed her back. Because despite what Nathan tried to do, pit us all against each other, what he really did was build a sisterhood. A broken, bruised, and furious one. I flew back to Maryland the next morning. And that's when I saw it, another envelope on my doorstep. The handwriting this time? Blocky. Angry. Mail. Inside was a photo of Nathan kissing a pregnant woman at what looked like a baby shower. There were balloons in the background. It's a girl, spelled out in rose gold letters. Underneath, scrawled in red ink. How many more do you want to meet, Jenna? No return address. No explanation. No warning. Just a ticking bomb. I didn't even hang up, I just ran. Keys. Wallet. No shoes. I flew out of the house like it was on fire, heart pounding in my chest like it was trying to warn me. You're walking into something dangerous. Erica only lived 10 minutes away. I drove like I was chasing a ghost. Because in a way I was. The ghost of the man I married. The man I trusted. The man who stood in my wedding photos, swore vows he never meant, and now stood, uninvited, on my best friend's doorstep. And he wasn't alone. I pulled up to Erica's house and immediately spotted the car. A black SUV. Rental plates. Parked crooked like whoever drove it didn't care. The porch light was on. The front door cracked open. I pushed through without knocking. Nathan. I called out, my voice already shaking. Erica stepped into the hallway. Her face pale. Her mouth a tight line. He just walked in, she whispered. Didn't knock. Just showed up, with her. And then I saw her. The woman from the baby shower photo. Pregnant. 7, maybe 8 months. Wearing a pink dress that hugged her belly like a proud banner. She stared at me with wide, cautious eyes. As if she wasn't sure whether I'd hit her. Or hug her. Nathan stood beside her. Still smug. Still calm. Like a man who thought he could walk into the center of the storm and stay dry. Jenna. He said like we were old friends reuniting for lunch. Get the hell out of Erica's house. I need to talk to you. You don't get to need anything. I'm serious. So am I. But then the woman stepped forward. My name is Naomi, she said, voice soft but clear. And I didn't know about any of this until last week. She pulled something from her purse. A photo album. Opened it to a page filled with ultrasound pictures. Baby shower invites. A sonogram labeled. Baby Graves, 31 weeks. My knees buckled. You named her after him? I hissed. She nodded slowly. He told me we were building something sacred. That I was his second chance. He said his wife, you cheated on him. That you aborted his child and went cold. I've never even been pregnant. Naomi's lip trembled. He made me feel like I was saving him. That was Nathan's talent. He never just lied, he performed. Played the part of the misunderstood man. The tragic lover. The abandoned good guy. And we all wanted to believe we were the ones rescuing him. I told him I was keeping the baby, Naomi added. And then I started getting messages. From anonymous accounts. Telling me to check Maryland marriage records. So I did. And I found you. Then why are you here? I snapped. Why come with him? Naomi glanced at Nathan. As he begged. Said he owed you closure. I laughed. Sharp, bitter, unhinged. Closure? That what this is? Nathan stepped forward. Jenna, listen. I know I've made mistakes. Mistakes? Mistakes. You have 5 women. For kids. 1 still inside her. You used fake names, fake passports, fake marriage licenses. And you're standing here acting like this is a relationship talk. He tried to interrupt. I didn't let him. You are a manipulative, parasitic sociopath, I snarled. And the only closure I need is seeing you in handcuffs. Naomi gasped. Handcuffs. Erica stepped forward. We've been building a case. Jenna, Tasha, Angela, Felicia. We've all filed complaints. The feds are watching him now. Nathan's eyes narrowed. You're bluffing. No, I said, pulling a USB stick from my pocket. But this is everything. Photos. Emails. The fake identity trail. Birth certificates. Property deeds. You think you're the only one who knows how to document things. He lunged for it. Erica blocked him. Naomi stepped back like she just realized she was standing next to a lit fuse. Is any of this real? She whispered, tears rising. Did you ever love me? Nathan looked at her. And for once he said nothing. That silence was louder than all his lies. I walked up to him. Close. Too close. And whispered, you should have picked smarter women. Instead you picked women with nothing left to lose. He blinked. You think this ends here? No, I said. This ends in court. That night as I drove home my phone buzzed with a restricted call. I picked up. A deep voice on the other end said, Miss Quinn, this is Special Agent Monroe. We've been tracking Mr. Graves for months. We need you to come in. There's something you don't know. He's not just a bigamist. He's been laundering money through all of you. I always thought betrayal ended at heartbreak. But now I was staring down something far worse. Federal charges. Laundering money? I repeated, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Yes, Miss Quinn, Agent Monroe said. His voice was calm, clipped. Government serious. We believe your husband, Nathan Graves, alias Daniel Green, alias Nathaniel Carter, has been moving large sums of money through multiple bank accounts registered in the names of his romantic partners. Including yours. My mouth went dry. What does that mean? It means you may have unknowingly helped him commit fraud. It also means we need your full cooperation. And your digital devices. I pulled over on the side of the road, the hum of traffic buzzing around me like static. I wasn't just a woman scorned anymore. I was evidence. The next morning I sat in a sterile government office staring across a table at two federal agents. They had a thick folder labeled Graves, Nathan D. Inside were documents I never imagined seeing in my lifetime. Fake business registrations. Tax filings. Wire transfers from Ghana to Maryland. Offshore accounts in Belize. Properties listed in my name. My name. How long has he been doing this? I asked, stunned. Best guess. Since before you even met. I shook my head. No, when we met he was working at a shell company, the female agent cut in. It was dissolved a year after your wedding. He's a ghost, Miss Quinn. Every job, every business, every document. Smoke and mirrors. The only real things were you and the other women. Your lives gave him the paper trail he needed. And now what? I whispered. Do I get arrested too? No. Not if you help us. We need access to everything. Your emails, texts, backups, financial accounts, joint credit card records. And we need you to wear a wire. My heart stopped. You want me to meet with him? After all this? Exactly. You're the only one he might still trust. Or underestimate. I let out a dry laugh. He definitely underestimates me. That night I sat on my couch staring at the wire in my hand. It looked like nothing. Just a little black pin I could hide inside my blouse. But it carried the weight of a bomb. I agreed to meet Nathan the next day. I told him I just wanted closure. He bought it immediately. Let's meet at the park, he said. Somewhere quiet. Of course he did. Nathan always chose places that looked innocent from the outside. Safe, normal. Like he did. The next morning I sat at a bench by the lake. Wired. Ready. My heart pounded as I saw him walk toward me. Still dressed in tailored slacks, crisp shirt, dark glasses. Still charming. Still polished. Still a liar. Hey, he said, smiling like we were on a first date. You look like hell, I muttered. You look beautiful. I rolled my eyes. Cut the crap, Nathan. He sighed and sat beside me. So what now? You going to drag me through court? You already dragged me through hell. A long pause. Then he said, I loved you, you know. I turned to him. You don't destroy the things you love, Nathan. You use them. Like you used me. And Tasha. And Felicia. And Angela. And Naomi. His eyes flickered. You talked to all of them? I nodded. We've compared notes. He chuckled, low and bitter. That's impressive. No. You were impressive. The way you juggled so many lives. The way you remembered names, birthdays, lies. I leaned in close, pretending to soften. But tell me something, Nathan. Where's all the money? His body tensed. Just slightly. What money? You know what money. The wire transfers. The property investments. The Belize accounts. He went still. Then he leaned back. Smiled. You're not as dumb as I thought. And you're not as invincible as you think. His face changed. And just as he opened his mouth to speak, black SUVs pulled up. FBI agents swarmed the park. Nathan stood up. Ran. Didn't make it 10 steps before he was tackled to the ground. Face in the dirt. Hands cuffed. The crowd watching. Dogs barking. Sirens blaring. Me. I sat on the bench. Still wired. Still shaking. But finally, free. That night I got a call from Angela. He sounded shaken. Jenna, you need to see this, she whispered. He sent me a video. It was security camera footage from outside her spa. And in it, Nathan, walking by. Just 2 days ago. Before he was supposed to be in Ghana. Before Naomi. Before the FBI ever contacted me. And next to him, a 6th woman. My fingers hovered over the screen, trembling. The video Angela sent was grainy but clear enough. Nathan. 2 days ago. Not in Ghana. Not at Naomi's baby appointment. Not in a foreign country arranging investments. He was outside Angela's spa. In Houston. With a woman I had never seen before. Taller than the others. Sharp cheekbones. Braided hair down her back. Wearing a tailored suit and holding a laptop bag. And the way she looked at him? She wasn't just sleeping with him. She was working with him. I called Angela immediately. Where did you get this? I asked, pacing my kitchen like the floor might collapse. My receptionist sent it to me. Said she thought it was weird he showed up again, especially since he said he was done with me months ago. And the woman? Angela sighed. No clue. But she wasn't some side chick. She was confident. She didn't flinch when she saw the cameras. Like she knew she was protected. I felt a chill crawl down my spine. What if, I whispered, this woman isn't a victim? What if she's a partner? I emailed the FBI. They replied within hours and confirmed something I didn't want to hear. We are aware of the woman in question. Her name is Dr. Remy Cole. She's a data analyst who has worked with several foreign shell corporations connected to Graves' network. We believe she may be the architect behind the laundering system. Architect. This wasn't just betrayal. It was organized crime. And I had been married to the man at the center of it. I called Felicia, Angela, Naomi, even Tasha. We set up a group Zoom call. Each of us sat in our separate squares like the broken cast of a reality show gone horribly wrong. I explained what I'd learned. About Dr. Remy Cole. About the possibility that Nathan wasn't working alone. That he never had been. Angela spoke first. He always said there was someone handling his finances. A consultant named Remy. I thought it was just an accountant. Felicia added, he used to get real nervous when I asked too many questions about wire transfers. He said there were people involved who were dangerous. Naomi shook her head. He made me sign documents I never read. Said it was to help with his taxes. Tasha for once was quiet. But then she said, I found a passport in his bag once. It wasn't his. It had a woman's photo. Her name was Remy, something. He said it was for business. We stared at each other. Then I said what we were all thinking. This wasn't about love. Or sex. Or ego. This was a system. And we were the perfect covers. The next day I got an anonymous text. Unknown. Stop digging. You're not supposed to see the blueprint. Attached a photo of me. Sitting outside my house. Taken that morning. My blood went cold. I ran to the window. No one there. I called the FBI again. They were already tracing the source. But that night I couldn't sleep. Because I knew what it meant. Nathan wasn't the real monster. Remy Cole was. Nathan? He was just the front man. 3 days later I was called back into the federal office. Agent Monroe looked grim. We've located Dr. Cole, he said. She's been staying in Dubai. Transferred nearly $3 million last month through a U.S. brokerage account connected to your name. My name. He nodded. She forged your signature on investment authorizations, claiming you were an executive sponsor. My stomach twisted. Am I going to jail? No. But you are now officially part of a federal witness protection case. I leaned forward. Tell me everything. Here's what they told me. Nathan had been targeting emotionally vulnerable women for years. But not just for sex. Each woman's name, social security, and financial history was used to create fake business entities or grant applications. Remy Cole handled the digital footprint. She wrote the code, laundered the money, and made sure each woman was just legal enough to avoid raising flags. Together they moved nearly $14 million across 8 countries. 8. And we had only found 5 women. That night I packed a suitcase. Not because I was running. Because I was going to confront the final piece of the puzzle. I had one more lead. One more woman who appeared nowhere in the official reports. A name whispered by a bank clerk in Belize after I showed him Nathan's photo. He called her, the American wife who never spoke. I had her name now. And her location. And I was flying out the next morning. As I checked into my flight, my phone buzzed with a blocked number. I answered. A woman's voice. Come, Pug. You've made enough noise, Jenna. Come to Belize and you won't leave. Nathan wasn't your biggest mistake. I am. Belize was beautiful. Blue skies. Palm trees swaying. The scent of salt and sunlight everywhere. But for me it felt like a trap. I stepped off the plane with my pulse in my throat and a burner phone in my pocket. The feds knew I was here. I had a tracker hidden in the heel of my boot. I was the bait and Remy Cole was the shark. The woman who had built the empire of lies Nathan used to destroy me, and so many others, was finally within reach. And I wasn't leaving without looking her in the eye. She lived in a private gated villa on the edge of San Pedro. I used a fake name to book a tour of a nearby real estate property. When we got close enough to her compound, I broke away and slipped through a side trail. Security cameras watched me approach. But no one stopped me. Almost like she wanted me to come. I found her on a terrace, overlooking the ocean, sipping a cocktail like a queen watching the execution of a peasant. Remy Cole. Ageless. Skin flawless. Dressed in silk, barefoot, toes painted white. She didn't look like a criminal. She looked like power in human form. You made it, she said, smiling without warmth. Jenna Quinn. Nathan's favorite disaster. I swallowed the urge to lunge. You used me. She laughed. You used yourself. Nathan just held the mirror. You were bored, insecure, desperate to test him. All I did was provide the infrastructure. You laundered millions through women's lives. Correction, she said calmly. He laundered. I engineered. There's a difference. I took a step closer. Why the women? Why us? Remy stood. Because women like you don't ask questions. You trust. You nurture. You make excuses for bad behavior. You hand over your bank accounts, your email passwords, your legal signatures, all in the name of love. She sipped her drink. You were perfect vessels. I felt like I might throw up. Where is the money? I asked. She raised an eyebrow. You think I'd tell you that? I don't need you to tell me, I said. I already found the offshore ledger. It was on one of Nathan's flash drives. The FBI has it. That was a lie. A bluff. But she flinched. Just slightly. You're bluffing, she said, but her voice was thinner now. No. I'm done bluffing. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the hidden mic. Already turned on, already transmitting to agents stationed less than 2 blocks away. Say hi to the feds, I said. Remy's face dropped. She took a step back and I saw her hand go to her side. The gun. I didn't wait to find out. I dove behind a planter just as she shouted. Something in another language. The sound of running footsteps echoed behind me. 2 armed men emerged from the house. And then sirens. Everywhere. In seconds, federal agents swarmed the terrace. Guns raised. Shouts in multiple languages. Remy dropped her drink. But not before she locked eyes with me and said, You think this ends with me? It never ends with the woman holding the glass. Then she smiled. As the cuffs went on. 3 weeks later, I sat in the same FBI office where this nightmare truly began. They told me Remy had flipped. In exchange for a lighter sentence, she handed over Nathan's entire playbook. Names, accounts, passwords. The money was real. The crimes were massive. But the case was airtight now. Nathan was sentenced to 28 years. Remy got 12. Me. I walked out free. Scarred but not broken. Angela opened her spa again. Felicia started therapy and moved back to New York. Naomi gave birth to a baby girl named Hope. Tasha started a podcast about surviving manipulation. Me. I wrote everything down. Every lie. Every affair. Every detail. I sold the rights to a documentary company. The title? I asked a coworker to flirt with my husband and uncovered his double life. They say never test your partner's loyalty. But the real lesson? Never underestimate the people who clean up after betrayal. Because sometimes, we come back with fire. And we don't stop until every lie burns. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and comment your thoughts below. Would you choose love or loyalty? And don't forget to subscribe for more true secrets every day.